Hello viewers, it's midday here over in the UK. A big welcome to you from wherever you are in the world. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and give you a shout out. Today, what's it all about? It's S&P 500, analysing one of those major key US stock markets. I'm going to take you through some sentiment, technical analysis, and hopefully come up with a direction, opinion on where we think the markets are going to head next. Now, a bit of admin behind what I'm going to be looking at. I'm using ticker ES1, which is the front month S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. Very popular day trading instrument, replicates the S&P 500, but you might also hear me use ticker SPY or SPX. Doesn't matter, they're a like for like. Yes, the SPY, the actual underlying numbers different. That's a basket representing the S&P 500. Very popular in the US for day trading, especially using options around it as well. So for the purpose of this video, I'm using ES1, but don't worry, the price movement in either direction, whatever, is exactly the same by the ticker. That's the important bit, where it's heading next, and that's what we are going to look into. So with that, let's get into some charts, and we're going to start with a quick look at what's going on this morning. And well, actually, you can see midnight UK time, price started to move on up, but in the last few hours, and this is a 15-minute chart, price has come down. The indicators are giving us a bit of a bearish momentum at the moment. It's right at its point of control, which is around 44.10, looking to maybe push on down to that next pivot line, which is 43.83. If it starts to get more bearish, and then 43.66 bouncing from here. We got pivots around there at 44.29, and then up here at 44.57. So at the moment, looking bearish. Let's dig into some longer term analysis. First up, what have we got? We have a chart that looks at the commitment of traders and seasonality of the index. So you can see the price there up the top. At the very bottom, we have seasonality, and currently it's all a bit flat, I would say, coming a bit more stable in terms of seasonality. But as you can see, as the year moves on, let me just scroll that out a bit. There we go. We can see we get a little bit more bearish, and then what's great about a lot of these stock markets is this seasonal play up through into the new year. Happens year after year, with few exceptions. So watch that period starting October time. That's when people G up and get more bullish, the indices, and it's the same here with the S&P. So at the moment, though, pretty flat seasonality, so don't expect anything there. What have we got above? Well, we've got the commitment of traders, large speculators going on here. And what I would like to see is normally like a following reaction to the price. As that grows here, you see, we want to see the price growing up there, and it did to some extent, but we've got a sort of a diversion happening here. We've got the price coming down, but we still got the market going on upwards there for the large speculators. So they're still holding a bullish opinion. So that's quite an interesting flag to note. We got that support around that level there, 43.50, call it 43.55. So maybe they know something. Normally it's their job to be right, and we can see that still holding and building their long position. So maybe they know something and they're expecting the price to move on back upwards. So interesting there. But this next one to me is critical if you're trading the S&P 500. It's the VIX index. Now let's set that to daily to start with for a longer term look. This has an inverse relationship. I'm not going to go into why it works. I've got other videos on the channel that will explain that to you. But essentially, as the volatility rises, we draw on there, you can see it's been rising, the price falls. It's inversely correlated. And at the moment, we've got that volatility rising. You can see that through this Laguerre RSI indicator here. So to me, that's a bearish signal for the S&P at the moment. You can actually see we've got an awesome oscillator down there also giving us a bearish reading at the moment. Got a whole strategy video on the VIX and the S&P on the channel that you can follow if you want to learn more. But to me at the moment, that's a bearish sign. We can drill in. It works in all different time frames. Let's go down to 3 hours. So you can see yesterday's fall in the price, but just starting to pick back up there in the VIX. You can see as the VIX fell, the price came up slightly, and it's back on down. So when it gets into this cloud, I like to think it's more neutral, more 50-50 on where it's going. So really looking for the breaks there. And like I said, you can take it all the way down to whatever time frame. It works very nicely. But at the moment, the shorter time frames looking sort of neutral, weak bearish, the longer term more bearish, and some other statistics, some data that I look at, some basic stuff that you can pull into your charts. We've got in the top left up there, you can see S&P 500 stocks above their 50-day moving average. Another nice indicator. You can see all coming down, coinciding with a more bearish feel. And then the same thing, but on the longer term moving average in the top right there, 200-day moving average still looking bearish. And at the bottom, we've got 52-week highs. So that's a nice momentum indicator to let you know, the strength that our companies, organisations pushing up, to highs. The more they obviously, the stronger the market. But as you can see, it's been weakening off as well. So sentiment-wise, from the COT, the seasonality, the VIX, and these three that we've just looked at now, it all looks to me a bit weak, bearish at the moment. So let's take a longer look at the price. We've got the weekly chart here for the E-mini futures. Got volume at price there on the right hand side, also make oscillator at the bottom, some trend lines, a bit of Fibonacci as well to help us plot our journey. And I suppose let's go to the short term first. We've got this down flag for the awesome oscillator there at the moment, as you can see reflected in that weekly chart. Last 3 or 4 weeks been bearish. Volume interesting as well, coinciding here with roughly with the Fibonacci at this line. So we might start to see a bit of support around the 4,200 mark in here. If it breaks there, notice I pointed this out in other live streams we had this week, that shape there, the volume at the price. Now there's less volume in there, so probably the momentum for it moving down is a lot quicker. So we've got our next target here, 3,800, and there's a lot of price action and support around there. And then, like I said, under that, it breaks down into this sort of zone here, which is back in March of 2020 around the 2,750 sort of zone before we had that really lovely run up. And then really since then, it's been a bit of a bumpy journey. We have been in a good up period. You can see those trend lines, that's the 200 moving average. It's holding them at the moment. That pullback there, comes in nicely to those two lines there, around about the 4,000 mark. If we're thinking more bullish, then we've got to look through those upsides around 4,800, which we saw back in December of 21. Then, fantasy land, where could it be heading next? 5,500 to the upsides according to Fibonacci. So that's the longer term look. What if you're into some shorter term trading? Well, I use the line break chart for bar setup here, but I use a 2 bar reversal. So what does that mean? You'd count your 4 down and go 2 up. So if you're using this chart, then just draw that on there. I'm probably looking to enter to outside if I was bullish in there around about What's that going to be? 4407, something like that. That's on the 1 hour time frame. Again, depending on your time horizons, you can get very different opinions with the chart. I like to use the 1 hour there. Sometimes the 1 day, like you can see here. Let's just again draw on there. If we're doing that same rule, you know, another bullish play coming in around 4450. So that's the live rate chart. Let's dive into my favorite charts, which are the Renko charts. And in the short term, what have we got going on? What block size are we using here? We've got a $5 block size, and I suppose the takeaway is that everything looks a bit bearish to me. We've got signals down here, bearish on the stochastic. Let's just draw on some Fibonacci's to get us some potential targets. Let's pick that high there, which is July. This is real short-term stuff. There we go. So let's focus in on the negative side here at the moment. We've got this line here at 44.14. You can see a bit of price action through there, slipped on down there, 18th of August. Could be looking for this pullback to 4350, 4355, and then under that 4283. If we can build maybe a consolidation area around this Fibonacci line upsides, the 61.8 Fibonacci line at 44.59, then we've got 44.91, the other key Fibonacci 45.23, where you can see, you know, a lot of price action where it previously broke on down. So that seems to be a nice upside target around the 4.520s. And to finish off the technical analysis, if your point of view is more longer term, we've got a medium term chart here, give you some longer term potential targets. Let's do the same thing again. Let's get the Fibonacci's in play. Let's put it on there. Let's use the retracement one, extension, sorry, trends extension from high to the low. That low down in May of 23. Different look here. We still got the trend from early August heading downwards. Let's get the drawing on there, not the writing. Let's just remove that guy. So you still see that trend, weak trend in place. Support there, nice block reversal there. We've got a similar sort of price area there. What was that around? That was at the 4370, 4372 zone. So longer term, maybe this sort of area in here between that 4372, 4431 is what you want to look out for potential breaks up and down. Downwise, we've got 4300 at the 38.2 Fibonacci, then 42, 40, 42, 50 potential downside targets, and then upwise, yeah, it's that same sort of numbers. 4500 early ones are there, and then up to 4600s, which is the high. And then, you know, if things do turn around, we see that seasonality kicking in later in the year. What could you expect if it all looks, you know, more rosier picture? 4760, 4750, that sort of upside. So that's the analysis. Let's just quickly summarize everything then. I suppose the sentiment side, weak bearish at the moment. The charts, yeah, the trends down since August, not looking great. It is a tricky period to trade August with a lot of the market out on their holidays. It's a known period. Before that, nice seasonality kicks in around October. Lots to factor into there as well. Poor Chinese demand, you know, global economic woes, those interest rates and inflations, yields rising as well. So a lot of factors to bear in mind. So my tip is trade what you see on the charts. Currently, I would say, you know, S&P 500 looking weak bullish. So there you go. That's the S&P. Hopefully we'll do this as a more regular event. If you like it, let me know in the comments whether you want to see more of this or other markets you'd like me to have a look at. Love to know. That's basically it for today. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you very soon.